We're finally nearing the NBA playoffs, and in today's video, I'm going to run through a bunch of teams and players I'm buying and selling in the playoffs. What's going on, guys? Matt here, back again with another video. Before we start, please smash the like button and hit subscribe if you enjoy sports card content. It really does help the channel grow tremendously. So it has been a while since I've done a video like this, and we are getting towards the peak of the NBA season, so I thought it'd be good to run through some teams I am liking for the playoffs. Now, whilst this doesn't happen as drastically now as the market has gotten smarter, teams that typically go further in the playoffs do see a bump in their card prices, and teams that get eliminated often have their cards go down. Now let's run through the first team I am buying for the playoffs, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks at the time of recording are third in the East with a 50 win and 30 loss record. Not their amazing sort of record they've previously had, but good when you think about the constant nagging injuries that they've had to their big three and other role players. Their big three have missed a combined total of 44 games this season, and their starting center Brook Lopez only recently returned back from injury. I do feel like the Bucks haven't been spoken about as much this season in preference for other teams, but they sneakily have crept up to another great regular season finish. Now, this is a consequence of winning the championship, as people generally just assume you're there, and really they're not excited at the prospects of another potential championship. I do think we see another repeat from last year's finals between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Phoenix Suns, who do seem like the obvious pick to come out of the West. In terms of hobby love, I'm a massive fan of Giannis at the moment. I think he's relatively undervalued when you compare him to a similar star in another sport like the NFL in Patrick Mahomes. Both have won titles and individual awards in their respective sports, but I do feel like Giannis pales in comparison to Patrick Mahomes' hobby love. Their Prism and Select base cards are quite similar to each other in terms of their prices, but if we do look at their rookie autographs, which is one of my favorite things to collect from a player, Patrick Mahomes' certified RPA recently sold for $3,800 US. And you look at Giannis' certified autograph, which doesn't feature a jersey on the card, and this goes for just under $1,000 US. You've also got to remember that there were less sets in Giannis' draft year, leading to less rookie autographs than Patrick Mahomes probably has. And I do think a very nice play that can work out is going for Giannis' rookie autographs, as there's room to grow in comparison to Mahomes'. Moving on to his play style itself, Giannis has really worked on his game throughout his career and has even added a reliable three-point shot to his arsenal. His free throw shooting has improved to a point where you don't just want to hack him just under the rim, and even though his percentages are average, I feel like in the clutch he just hits his free throws. If Giannis does win the title this season, he becomes a two-time NBA champion and a two-time MVP at the age of 27 with still so many years left. I think people investing in Luka over Giannis at the moment are gambling, and if you do want more of a sure bet, Giannis is the way to go for me. He's also someone who is extremely likable, as he won a title the hard way and didn't move to a superstar team, which may lead to people wanting to own a card of his rather than someone like Kevin Durant. Now let's switch to the other side and pick a team from the Eastern Conference that I'm selling in the Chicago Bulls. Now this may come to be a surprise to some of you considering how hot the start was for the Bulls. They're currently 6th in the East with 45 wins and 33 losses. And with how tight the East is, they're probably lucky that the Cavaliers had injuries to Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, which have caused the Cavaliers to drop out of the play-in situation. The scary thing with the Bulls is if you're a fan of them, they don't seem to be winning the games at the right time, which is what you want leading into the playoffs. Momentum is a scary thing in any sport, and the Bulls don't have that right now, unfortunately. Since the All-Star break in late February, they've gone under 500, going 7 wins and 12 losses. Now it's a bit 50-50 at the moment, but it does look like they'll be playing against the Bucks or the 76ers, and I don't like their chances against either of them. I've already spoken about why I do like the Bucks, but even if they come up against the 76ers, I can't see how they will beat them. The 76ers are led by their MVP candidate in Joel Embiid, who is their major strength with how much he dominates the court. But in contrast to the Bulls, their weakness is their interior defense, considering that their center, Nikola Vucevic, is not really known for his defense. The team also announced this week that their starting point guard, Lonzo Ball, would be out for the rest of the season, which is unfortunate considering they are 22 wins and 13 losses when he does play. In terms of their hobby-specific players, they have DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, and Kobe White that I will be going through today. I have to put a line through the last two, considering that they probably won't have the playoff impact to have a boost in their card prices. Patrick Williams seems like one who may grow in time, but a growing frustration with Bulls fans is his lack of confidence and willingness to be a scorer. To be fair to him, when you have scorers around you like DeMar and Zach LaVine, it's really easy to defer to them, and I've never really been a Kobe White fan, so I won't delve into him too much. This leaves the other two players in DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine. Honestly, if you predicted DeMar to be a player who has been spoken about in MVP conversations throughout the season in the beginning of the season, you'd be doing very well at the moment. If you haven't sold his cards, I would personally definitely be doing so as he's already jumped up a fair bit. His top space was going for under $10 in the preseason, but he's trading around $40 to $50 at the moment. So if you got onto that in the preseason, you are winning already. Zach LaVine will be looking to show off in his first playoff appearance in his career, but again, I'm anticipating the Bulls are knocked out early, so I'm not a massive fan. Although the Bulls will most likely be knocked out early, I think they will be one of the best teams in the East next season, with Lonzo hopefully back and another off-season in their young star Patrick Williams. Let's flip to another team that I am buying, and whilst it may be obvious, it's really hard to say no to the league-leading Phoenix Suns. The Suns will be looking for revenge after last season, after going up 2-0 in the finals and then losing 4 straight to the Bucks. They're on track for one of the greatest seasons of all time, and they are steamrolling into the playoffs. For the last few years of the NBA, the Western Conference has always been known as the strong conference. This season, it really does pale in comparison to the East, meaning that the Suns should get an easier run to the finals than whoever comes out of the East. To be fair though, they'll either be playing the Clippers or the Pelicans, and I think the Clippers might be a bit sneaky considering that Paul George and Norman Powell have just returned, whilst Kawhi Leonard is said to be very close. Hobby-wise, the Suns do have a fair few players that are relevant, like Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and others. DeAndre Ayton had a great playoff series last year, although he was unable to match up on Giannis in the finals. I'm anticipating he has another great performance in the playoffs, considering this is his contract season, and he is playing for a potential max contract in the off-season. Now, the Suns are so deep that even their role players like Mikal Bridges and Cameron Johnson get some hobby hype. I can see both of them having solid performances throughout the playoffs, which may lead to a spike. Now to the two players it will have the most impact on in CP3 and Devin Booker. If the Suns win, it cements CP3 as a true winner, as the knock on him throughout his career is losing the key games, whether it's been his fault or not. And Devin Booker has been called the next Kobe Bryant, and I do feel like he's not spoken about in the league as much as some of the younger stars like Ja and Jason Tatum. He fits the mold of an investable player easily in that he's marketable and extremely popular, as well as being one of the best scorers in the league. He's also like Trae Young and Jason Tatum in that he can just average 40 points per game over 5 games and create a ton of hype. Also, maintaining an average over 25 points per game over the past 5 seasons is crazy, considering he's still only 25 years old. He's someone you can invest in, and I still think he can potentially be a consistent 30 point per game scorer if CP3 potentially retired or left. The Suns are the clear favourites to win the title, and you can see why. They have great star players, great depth, and they're clicking on all cylinders. Now let's talk about the last team that I will be selling, and that's the Utah Jazz. The Jazz for the past few seasons have been a great regular season team led by Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. They've added great secondary players over the years, but have consistently fallen in the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell is actually a great playoff performer, and he's had solid series averaging 36 points against the Nuggets in the bubble, and he's also averaged 35 points against the Clippers last season. Rudy Gobert is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and when you hear a great scorer and an amazing defender paired with each other, you automatically think championship contender. The issue with Gobert is that he's been exposed in past playoffs through his average offense, and last season the Clippers played a 5-out offense with 5 shooters, which caused Gobert to defend the perimeter but then opened up the paint. I would expect any team who plays the Jazz to employ a similar scheme, which essentially phases him out and puts more pressure on Mitchell. Gobert is a great regular season player, but unfortunately some players in the playoffs get found out due to the different play styles and tactics, and he does just seem to be one of them. Another thing is that the whispers over the past year has been that Gobert and Donovan don't like each other, and that one of them would be traded eventually. As we've gotten closer towards the playoffs, I feel like the tension has gotten even stronger, and it's not something you want to be popping up towards the playoffs. I think the overall tension and lack of depth currently at Utah will cause them to be a first-round exit, and I really can't see them going too far into the playoffs. The good thing is, if you're a Donovan Mitchell investor, is that if they do lose, they could potentially retool the team around him, which may lead to better team success. It could almost be like a Luka situation at the Mavericks, where you put capable role players around him and allow him to be himself. That is it for today's video. Let me know down below what you guys think of who I am buying and selling this season. I'm getting excited for the playoffs, and I hope you guys are too. As always, guys, take care.